all there is for me to do is just wait and hope this ends sometime soon.
Just endure.
Hello and welcome. My name is Jay Yee, and with me today is my good old friend, Alexander Gonzalez.
Hello.
And please remember that we are not game devs. How you doing today, Alex?
I'm doing all right. I'm getting through it. Monday just felt really Monday to me. Like I showed up at work and I was there, but I didn't push the needle or anything, if you know what I mean. It was a Monday.
Work has been the worst for me this weekend because 2 days.
How was your brunch? How was the brunch? No, that one shift that you had to do where the lady called out.
The lady called out?
Yeah, you were serving so many people and that other person called out, so it was just going to be you serving drinks all night?
Oh, yes. Those aren't brunches. I do dinner service. I don't work brunch.
Dinner service. How was that?
That's what I was going to say. So over the weekend, I had 2 shifts where both my bartenders called out. So I ended up being the only bartender. The first time I was like, well, this is terrible. I did 150 covers, pretty shit, made like $300 in tips, and that was whatever. And I was like, okay, that's pretty good. But that was a shitty shift. The next day goes along normally, but I was still tired from the day before. The next day happens to me again. My co-bartender calls out, and I get 250 covers that day. So 100 more people than the first time that happened. And so after that, that was 2 days ago. So yesterday I was at my shift and I was just like, I just don't want to be here. This is the worst day of my life. And I have to go back tomorrow. And I just don't want to work it right now. And it just sucks. But
at least you're making the money, the tips.
It could be better if I had another person. It wouldn't have been better if I had another person. Like I would have had to split those, and so it would have been less. But we would have been tipped out overall more, just because someone would have been able to pay attention to the people seated at the bar. Because I didn't talk to one person that day. I had 250 covers. I just was making drinks, and that was all I did nonstop for 8 hours straight. Just drinks. It was so busy, and there was so many people. They said, "You're not going to take a break, and you're just going to work the entire time." And then go home. And yeah, so I worked, I think, like a 7.5 hour shift, no break. So that's how that went. But those are not the work experiences we were talking about today. Today, we're creating something new. Every week on We Are Not Game Devs, we imagine a brand new video game idea from our minds. Join in on the fun, be creative. And if you have your own unique video game idea or want to patch into ours, write it to @poundgames@gmail.com. Today is my turn to present We Are Not Game Devs 221st IP. Now, this is an interesting concept. I don't have too much yet, so we're just gonna have to make it up as we go. But the idea is that it's gonna be kind of like a job simulator game, but you don't know how to do the job, and this isn't a job that exists. But what happens is when you get into work as the player, you go to your first day of work, like it's probably going to be like, the game's probably going to start and give you like a little story tutorial. It's like, okay, it's time to go to work now. And you get to work, it's like, well, now what do I do? And then I'm assuming the player's just going to sit there and look around and maybe like interact with some of the objects that is in front of you. But out of nowhere, your, I don't know, pen is going to yell at you. It's like, hey, why are you just sitting there? Get to work. And then the pen's going to be like, you got to pick me up and start checking these boxes, man. And then you just start doing whatever the pencil tells you to do. And then eventually it's going to be like, tell you, well, now you got to hit that button. And then the button's going to yell at you, be like, yeah, hit me, bitch, or whatever. And then it's like, you got to hit the button. And then that's going to do something, and then it's just going to keep going. And so what's going to happen is eventually is like you're going to have all these things around your office telling you what to do, and it's going to progress the game. And then maybe like at the end of each stage or workday, you create a brand new thing that goes into your office, and then that's going to give you a new mechanic to do the next day you go to work. So the next day you go to work, you start with the checking the boxes and then pressing the buttons, and then the day before you created a printer, and now you got to start printing these things, and then you got to insert the printed things into another thing. But essentially it's just going to be a whole bunch of these office things yelling at you to do stuff, and then you do the stuff, and then it takes you to the next step that tells you to do even more stuff, and it gets more complicated. And obviously there's going to be like fail state, like if you check the wrong box, you get dinged for it or something, and there's going to be negative stuff that happens if you do things wrong. But that's all I've got so far. What do you got?
Well, already I want there to be like some kind of antagonist, right? So what kind of piece of, we're going to have pens, paper clips, staplers. I think we can slowly include more and more inanimate objects as we go. So at first, maybe as you start off in a normal office, and then your pen starts talking to you, right? And then as you slowly go in day by day, maybe mission by mission, you get introduced to more characters as your items start to become personified.
That's the idea. And then, yeah.
As the game goes on, maybe as you start doing missions and you start getting promotions, what if the antagonist is somebody else who also has a pen, who's talking shit, going, you see that fuck face over there? Fuck him, fuck that pen. And then like as you guys are passing by, the two pens, nobody else can hear it, but you two are just like talking shit to each other. Yeah, fuck you. You go that way. No, you go that way. Yeah, fuck you. And then like you just go back to your cubicles. And you're they're fighting each other. And this could be some fun where things happen where maybe your stapler is one of your friends and it ends up in Jello, and then that's like a hit where they're like, I can't, oh my god, look at what they did to Stapler. And it's just like stuck in Jello.
Yeah, that sounds good. I think also, yeah, there could be some interaction with the other people that work in this office.
Like a little bit of like a mob mentality thing where it's like Rick Sanchez or like Rick and Morty meets like the mob.
I feel like, yeah, so you're going to be there's going to be like some interaction with the other people that work in this office. But I think in terms of a bad guy, I kind of had this idea, I think, where the end result, as you keep introducing more talking objects and you keep making, I think the office job, you are creating something. Like, I think the end is you're building something, whatever that is that you're building, or this office is dedicated to building, that thing ends up being bad, like evil. Like it's a thing that is maybe going to replace all the workers here. All the workers here are building something to replace them all, or something like that. Like that's what the end result's going to be, where the office is there, only exists to make this one thing into reality. And when this one thing becomes a reality, everyone in this office is going to have to leave or is eliminated or something. And then there's like going to be maybe a reveal halfway. Maybe it's like a AI that you're building towards. And then eventually you build the AI's head first, and so the AI head can start talking while you're building it, and then it will start barking orders at you too. I don't know. I'm just riffing now.
Right. And it's not, we want to make it where the mystery of this world and the mystery of what the pens and what everything's trying to do is going to be at the forefront of the game, but also the most delayed, right? Because once you find out exactly what the world is about, what the enemy is trying to do, it's not going to be as fun.
Right.
So I think we have to push that out far. But I think that the creative decision should be, even if you are being used, that your pen that the guy you've had since the beginning didn't know.
What do you mean?
You know how you said that you're creating an AI which is evil?
Sure.
You would still want all your office supplies to be loyal to you.
Yeah, I
Maybe you can
mean,
make up the excuse that, you know, when you quit. No, maybe not. I don't know. Because you would, I was gonna say, when you quit, you take your supplies with you, but not really. You don't take like your pencils and
no,
pens
you
and
don't take
shit.
your pens or anything like that. That's
You
all left
take
in
like
the
your
office.
frames and custom shit
Yeah, you just take the
that you
stuff
bring in.
that you had on your office
Like,
desk, your little
right.
plant that you decided to take with you. No, I think all the office supplies that talk to you, and like you're gonna have a computer that only has like 3 buttons on it, and each button talks to you or something like that. But they're not gonna be like for or against you. I think they're just there to tell you how to do the job with that object in kind of a
Mhm.
mean way. I don't know why a mean way. That just seems funny to me. Um, so yeah, I think it's just gonna be like all these office supplies are gonna like give you instructions on actually how to play the game. Um, and maybe we could add complexity where eventually the pencil, you don't have to listen to the pencil anymore because yeah, of course you know what to do with the pencil now. So maybe halfway through the game, the pencil starts telling you, "All right, guy, now that you're good at checking these boxes, you gotta use me to go erase some things over here or something like give you more things to do with the same types of materials." So you'd have to start, I don't know, checking boxes, and then when you're done checking boxes, you have to go sign a whole bunch of papers or something, and that's introduced later, the signing and stuff like that.
All right. We're also going to have them moving around the office too, right?
I didn't
Like,
expect there to be too much of that. Like in my head, I think it was going to work more like Papers, Please, where we just keep putting more mechanics on top of what you're supposed to do.
I could see
Uh,
that.
and so every day you just get into the office, and then you have a stack of paperwork to do, and your office materials will tell you what to do with the individual pieces of paper, or what your task is for that day. And so like each work day you'll come in, and then you have a stack of paperwork that you have to deal with, and other stuff that will happen in the office around you that will cause you to have to do certain other things, like maybe like a shipment comes in, you have to deal with the delivery, or like something malfunctions and you got to fix it, or like I don't know, another coworker comes by and asks you for your assistance in something. I'm not exactly sure what. But I feel like the gameplay loop is very much going to be similar to like Papers, Please, where it's just like each day a new mechanic is introduced for you to deal with, and so you have more work on top of what you already had to do with the same amount of time allotted for you to do it.
Gotcha. Okay. So, how are we going to make these mechanics fun besides just the talking? Do we want, maybe we're looking for haptic feedback with like the clicking of pens and the stapling, where we're going to be using triggers to be using these, and there's going to be different clicks and effects that you feel?
I think all that is good, but what is going to be engaging the player is, I think, the same kind of pressure that a player would feel when you're playing a game like Keep Talking and Everybody Explodes, where
Mhm.
every time you get your paperwork, it's going to be a similar thing you're supposed to do, but it's changes in variation each time, where you can't just, it's not going to be the same checking boxes and pressing these buttons every single time. Maybe a paper will say you got to check box, every single box that tells you or says surplus inventory minus negative inventory. I'm just making up words right now, but like you got to check these boxes. But if one of these boxes says this, you have to reference that onto your computer. And then when you get onto your computer, you have like other mechanics that you have to deal with, like turning it on and stuff like that, or like dealing with I don't know, fake emails or something. Like it's just going to be compounding stuff where you have to follow a set of instructions and think you could do those instructions incorrectly or correctly, depending on how closely you pay attention to the instructions and what the office things are telling you to do. And sorry, you can't see me anymore at this point, but there's literally no light in here I could turn on. So this is just what it's going to be. You could just hear my voice and not see my face.
It's okay. At this point, yeah, Jay has become the green screen.
Yeah. But there's no light in here I could turn on. It's literally, this is it.
No problem. All right, so I see it. It's there's just gonna be some fun stuff, I think, where we're gonna have to create scenes that are hilarious, where it'll be like day 30, and at day 30, everything's just screaming at you, calling names, where there's gonna be like 8 different voices calling at you, saying to him like, hey, you stupid motherfucker, no, hey, stupid, over here. So everyone's gonna be screaming at you, from the calendar to the pen, to the piece of paper, to
maybe that's how we'll make it complicated. Is by day 60, you have so many different tasks you have to complete, but we don't give you like an order that you got to complete them. You just have to like do it. And then maybe like one day you'll want to start with your paperwork first, and then another day you want to start with your emails first, and another day you want to start with printing first, just because you'll like by day 60, the player would be able to sit down, or the day will start. You'll look at your workload that you have to do, and the player should be able to, in their mind, be like, okay, the paperwork stack isn't that huge, but it looks like I have a bunch of email notifications, so I want to do all the email notifications as fast as I can so I can get to the paperwork, and then maybe go into printing if I could get that far into the day, type of thing. Like that, the game will like keep adding more and more stuff for you to manage. It's gonna be this is gonna be the type of game where if you step away for like a week and not play this game in a week, you're gonna come back and not remember how to do anything. You know what I mean? This is a game that you're gonna want to sit and play for until you get to completion. You know what I mean?
No, I do get that. So where do you see it ending?
I see it ending where eventually you get far enough in all your work that you start building towards this super AI that you have in the center of the office, and you could always see what you're building, like above your, like maybe you could like, there's a button for you to like look above your cubicle, like you sit up a little bit and you could look above and see the rest of your office, and you could do that whenever you want. And you could see what you're building towards in the center of the office, and it'll like shout stuff at you every once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
And then the player will eventually notice, oh, this thing that I'm building is not very cool. Like maybe all your office supplies are rude to you, but they'll all be endearing. Like you like them all for some reason, even if they're kind of an asshole to you. But the AI is just not going to be nice at all, and you're gonna hate them.
Like you're gonna find something nice about each of these things, but not that.
Exactly. And so I think where it's gonna lead to is maybe we'll add like not a third party element, but like an element we sneak into all the office work, where it's like there is I'm literally just stealing this from Paper Please, but there is like a rebellion group, right? And then maybe they're trying to hack into your office and send office workers like messages of support, being like, hey, reach out to us, we're trying to stop your company from releasing this mega AI, but it could only do it through like subtle messages every once in a while. And if the player picks up on them, at first, I think the player will like start reporting them, because they're going to be like, well, I'm at my job and this is like wrong, so I got to report this. And so you keep reporting. But later on, it's up to the player to just ignore all of them and just build this mega AI. Or maybe you can buy into these messages that you're getting every once in a while throughout your paperwork and then help bring the company down. So you gotta kind of choose your path. You know what I mean? And I totally ripped that out of Papers, Please, but this is sort of inspired by that. And also very, very inspired by another game that won't be named.
Or what if we can also just also make it where there's certain office supplies that are looking out for you, you know? So you have that too, where maybe there's one that falls into your office that never was supposed to be there, like a spy. So you have like a double agent working.
Yeah. Maybe that's where some of the rebellion group is trying to get to you. The hacktivist group is trying to get to you. Well, they'll send you objects that also can talk, that'll like help you bring down the company if you choose to use them. Like maybe they'll bring a talking USB that you're supposed to plug into your computer from this time to this time, so it's untraceable or whatever, so it could upload or download things from the database. You know what I mean? Like more jobs on top of your office jobs. So like this is okay. This is going in a good direction. The object of the game is you have all these office jobs that you have to complete on your day-to-day work job, but slowly we also introduce this party that is a hacktivist rebellion group that is trying to bring down the corporation that you work at, right? And they'll start sending you their own talking objects, so it seems like there's nothing wrong, but you have to do those hacking objects in a certain way as well. Like there's going to be mechanics that is built on these, like the USB, for example, and you have to make sure you put it in at the right time and also take it out at the right time while also doing all your other office jobs. So like if you don't take the USB out at the right time, you'll get a ding being like, why was this USB plugged in at this time? You're not supposed to have it in. And then you'll get like a strike towards your record. You know what I mean? And so like you have to eventually.
So you're going to have time management as well into the game.
Dual juggle your office job with also the hacking jobs.
Where I think you could do that, where there's going to be a calendar, and then the calendar will get to the day, and then on top of the day, then you'll have like an alarm clock where it'll tell you the time, and that way you also have things that'll help you out.
Yeah, and not just that, but I think every office day there's going to be like your clock in, clock out counter, and of course it's not going to be real time; it's going to be like a little bit faster, but that'll tell you how much day or time you have left in your work day, type of thing, and then at certain hours, like on your schedule or on your agenda for the day, it'll let you know from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock, you have to do this. From 4 o'clock to this time, you got to do this. And like, there's like times where you got to do certain things on top of like the basic day-to-day stuff that you got to do as well. And all of this, of course, is added slowly from workday to workday. So like the first day, you don't even have to deal with the time. You just have to make sure you're just check marking paperwork. The second day, you got to check paperwork and also send emails. The third day, you got to check paperwork, send emails. And then also from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock, press a button every 30 seconds. You got to press a button during this time frame. You know what I mean? From 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock, every 30 seconds, you got to press this button.
Do we want how much do we want the game to stress like the players out? Because you can make everything talk, like with increasing tension, or
I would say it's gonna get pretty stressful. I would say. I think by days, if there's 60 work days in this game, I don't know how long this game is. I think the player kind of chooses how long it gets. If you're gonna get pretty stressed out, like it's gonna be like when I play Papers, Please in the later stages, where I'm like really like focused and like in the kind of like a flow and in kind of zone and being able to like speed check all the stuff that I have to check in order to approve or disapprove. But in this, it's just going to be so much different things happening that it is going to get a little stressful.
Do you want there to be power-ups too? Because you can do sips of coffee, or like chewing gum, which can increase focus and slow down timers, and slow down time.
Like time slowing stuff.
Or where you can take two actions, so to say. So we can have like different upgrades as well. As part of the thing and layer it in.
I think we could add that in maybe as like let's make that like a bonus. So like we'll treat it like this, where you could keep earning them, but like if you do really, really good at your job on certain days, you'll get like, here's a bonus on top of your paycheck today, and then you get like a little candy treat, but the candy treat is like, I don't know, pure caffeine or something and sugar, and we don't have to tell you what's in it, but it slows down time and could use them kind of like a hint system, where if you are on day 36 and everything just seems too overwhelming, you could press a button, eat one of these candies, and it'll slow down time, so you could kind of manage things faster. So it would kind of be like this optional hint button that is also a reward that you could earn in the game for doing really well a specific day, or like getting your work done faster than you're supposed to, type of thing.
Okay. There you go. What did you think it was going to look like? Like, what are all these items going to have? Unique faces? Or do you want them all to have like googly eyes?
So first of all, I think this is a VR game. I think it's going to be all in VR, because it's going to be like the motion of pressing all these buttons and doing all this stuff, It
makes the most sense.
Yeah. And I think it'll definitely have to be stylized that way, where these objects, there's going to have to be something about them where they'll all have, of course, they're going to have a mouth somewhere. And then, yeah, we could give them googly eyes. Why not? That sounds like fun.
Right, because I could see it where maybe you just put googly eyes on your stuff for fun, and then eventually they start talking one day.
I like that idea, but I think the story is more that this is some weird dystopian future, and all these humans have been put in the office and for some reason have amnesia, so they forgot how to do their job. And so they had to put these like talking office supplies to help these dumb humans do their work, to eventually get replaced by AI, and so they are no longer needed at all, type of thing. Because like the original story I had for this game, the reason why all these office supplies are talking to you is because you, the player, has gotten amnesia, and then all these office supplies are helping you do your job until they eventually replace you, was my original idea for the game in terms of what the story is, which is still kind of where we're at. But
yeah,
I think the story is literally just these office supplies are eventually going to replace you, and you're just helping them towards that goal, unless you decide to help the rebel group.
This game, I can think of like endless amounts of gags, which can help you as well. So like if you get employee of the month, that'll be like do we want it to be a beneficial item, a talking item, or what are you thinking?
What do you mean?
So like employee of the month and other items that like get placed into your office, we can make them where they can be like moles, where they're there to like try to listen on you, or
I think it'll be fun if there is an employee of the month board, but it's not going to be you ever. It's just going to be all the objects that you use. You know what I mean? And so your stapler will get employee of the month.
Oh my God. Or so like you get a framed thing of your stapler on your desk.
Yeah, exactly. And then there's going to be like 1 month where it's your printer or something like that. So, because like I don't think you're ever going to be able to see your character and what they look like. So I just imagine it to be just like a fun little gag, employee of the month. But like, I think in terms of other things that could just occur, I don't know, lunch breaks. We could incorporate lunch breaks somehow. I don't know how. Maybe every day you'll get a lunch break and it's like super short, like it's only like 5 seconds. Like, all right, time for your lunch break, and it's over.
Yeah, so we're making a very dystopian type of reality here.
100%. I mean, I thought this was going to be very dystopian in
Yeah.
terms of how it feels, in terms of story and lore of the game that it builds to. But I don't think we're going to reference too much of the lore, because then things will start to unravel in terms of how much we didn't think about the lore of this game. Maybe there could be like a newspaper clipping that you could, or a newspaper you could read every time you get into the office about what's happening in the world and stuff, and the player could choose to read it or not, type of thing.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. And you could do that as well. Read it. Maybe you have your pen in your pocket, like usually where you're going anywhere. So there's always going to be commentary on the greater story that's happening.
Yeah. Obviously you wouldn't be able to have like a radio or a podcast to listen to or music, because already there's going to be a billion things shouting at you. So we obviously can't have like a radio show going on in the middle of it, or even have text going on. Like your computer can't have like news stories on it, because like you're probably too focused on trying to understand all the stuff you have to do, where you can't have any the players shouldn't get any distractions via words or other voices other than what they're supposed to do, because the whole game is on voices and listening to what the people tell you to do, type of thing. But
yeah, gotcha.
Yeah. And look wise, since it's VR and since all that stuff, I think it's just going to have a pretty cartoony look.
Yeah, because with VR, you can lower it because the immersion's already there, you know?
Yeah.
Whereas normally you use realistic graphics to try to pull the player in. You just sitting in an office, if they make it realistic enough with a certain kind of furniture, water coolers, everything like that, it'll look good. And you can kind of, this game's going to have different allegories for your descent into madness. As like when you first start, nothing's talking to you and your office looks normal, but albeit a little boring and undecorated. And by the end, maybe it is decorated, but all the items are talking to you and just driving you mad.
Yeah.
And you're just insane in your office as the AI takes over.
I think it'll also be a cool thing where you could decide to put everything where you want to put them. So if you want your pencils over here and you want your computer over there, you could set up your office in your own unique way where you think this will be the easiest way to work in my office. Like I like my pencils over here and my computer and my printer over here and all this stuff in certain areas. So you have freedom to arrange your office the way you want. And then maybe we could also add like office decorations that you earn in the game that you could set up and put wherever you want them as well, just as a fun little customizable thing where you could like get stuff for your office just to like decorate and have something to look at and play with every once in a while.
Yeah, completely down with that. Definitely.
Music. Is there music? What? Because there's so much sound already. Should we have much music at all?
I think it should be like a corporate station played over the loudspeakers.
Just like elevator type music playing. Just
what if we take from like Persona's handbook and it's actually music, but it's the corporate jingle that like, and the more items you have, the more join in to sing it.
Yeah, like what's the song from P4? Something like every day in something Junes.
Exactly. And you're like, how does everybody know this fucking song?
Yeah. What is that song? All I remember is Junes is at the very end.
Yeah, I don't remember myself.
And I was like, Junes. It's just says Junes. Whatever.
That's yeah.
I like that. Okay, yeah. So it's just gonna be a corporate jingle that's just on repeat all the time, and it's just eventually you're gonna hate the song, but at first you're gonna be like, you're gonna be singing along by like day 10, and then by like day 20, you're like, oh my god, this fucking song.
Right.
Every day is great at your Junes. That's what it is.
There you go.
Yeah. Pricing. What do you think?
$20.
$20. It's
Could
a
be
VR
30.
game though. You gotta keep that in mind. So it's a little bit more of an upcharge. So maybe like
So
35.
35.
There we go. We said
Yes.
that at the same time. That makes sense. All right, Alex. It's time to start your timer because it's time to name this game.
Oh. Okay, let's go.
I don't know. Office job. 9 to 5.
9 to 5 is perfect in 8 seconds.
Cool.
9 to 5 is a game where you play in VR as you clock in every day at work. Only something new has happened. Your pen is talking to you, giving you orders, teaching you how to work. Then it's your stapler. Then the next day, your keyboard. Then your eraser, until you have an office full of items teaching you how to work and work better. Is this a descent into madness or a promotion in 9 to 5?
All right. So I think we have a game here, Alex. What do you think? Would this be a game you would want to play, and is it fun?
Yeah, I love this. I love this, especially because of just the office nature of everything and how I feel about offices. I've worked at office jobs a lot through my life. This would hit home for me.
Yeah.
How about you, Jay? Would you want to play this?
I would give it a shot. The only game I played like this was Job Simulator. And I haven't played Vacation Simulator or anything like that. I haven't even played the game that I think it might be this game, and I just never played it or seen any game trailers about it. But there's a game that came out a while ago called Accounting Plus. I don't know what you do in that game, but it can't be this game, right? It has to be a different type of game. Who knows what Accounting Plus is like?
That I do not know.
But there's a game called Accounting Plus, and I've always wanted to check it out, but I haven't yet. Hopefully, we didn't just steal Accounting Plus's whole thing. What if in
not,
my
we
mind
did it on accident.
I just
It's a
made
great
Accounting
idea.
Plus. Yeah. But yeah, I'll give it a shot. But speaking of Accounting Plus, what game studio would you decide to make 9 to 5 the best? I mean, obviously Crows / Squanch Games that made Accounting Plus, and also High on Life that I may or may not have had a little bit of inspiration from.
For sure did. Valve is another one. They do VR well, and then do you think Sony would have the balls? Like, I mean, to make a game so bashing office culture?
No, I don't think this will be a Sony. Like, I don't think that Santa Monica Games or Japan Studios or whatever would do this, you know.
Yeah, they wouldn't exactly go out on a limb for this.
Yeah. But Owl Chemy Labs, the people behind Job Simulator and Vacation Simulator, of course, they already have an office job-like game in VR. So they already have like a ground base to make it. And besides that, I don't know. Ready at Dawn, just because they do VR games. They're the ones that made The Order and then stopped making video games and started making VR games because The Order didn't do that well.
Well, there you go. It's their next chance. We round them up. We're like, hey, we believe.
I believe. And with that, our 221st IP has gone gold. We hope you look forward to this experience that will probably never release. We have a Patreon. If you'd like to give us extra support, please head over to patreon.com/wearenotgamedevs. For just $1, patrons receive episodes early and an extra podcast at the beginning, which cut the tail end of a conversation at the beginning of this episode. That's patreon.com/wearenotgamedevs. Like, rate, and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. And if they ask for a review, instead of reviewing our show, become your in-game critic and review 9 to 5, the video game we just created. Thank you for joining us today. We'll be back next Friday with another new IP. Again, my name is Jay Yee.
And I'm the AG.
Thank you. And please remember that we are not game devs. Yeah, I definitely just became my background during this podcast. There's not even any movement. I'm waving my arms right now. You can't even tell. There's nothing happening
you can't
on my
see
camera.
anything.
Yeah.
No.
It's pitch black in here too. It's gotten very dark.
So it's just a glowing screen.
Yeah.
As we track Jay's descent into madness.